It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light, little flock. If you've been paying attention here in class, we've been talking lately about the inner world, and specifically the place where Satan is within a person. That includes you. Satan's seat, the Bible calls it. Yahusha said that I know where he has his throne, in other words, in the book of Revelation. It's called Pergamos. That's what he said. The church of Pergamos, which is where Satan's seat is. Well, if you've been paying attention, then you now know that Pergamos represents your belly. Y'all understand that, little flock? Satan's seat is on your belly. Now, what does that really mean for you? Well, what does your belly represent for you? What you eat, what you drink, correct? It goes into your belly. Right, little flock? I hear a cat. He must be behind here. He back here somewhere. He must be behind that wood right there. I can hear him, but I can't see him. But anywho, I'm sure y'all hear him too. But y'all don't see him neither. But the belly represents the appetite. Okay? Now, how would we describe the appetite? Well, somebody ever put a plate of food in front of your face and it wasn't what you desired? You had no desire for it? What do you tell that person? No, I don't have an appetite. When you're thinking about what you do want to eat, you say, what do I have an appetite for? You see that, little flock? Your appetite represents the desire for what you want to become one with. Now, what are you? Who are you? Well, the scripture says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So now we must understand that your thinking faculty, your mind, and your heart must become one in order for you to become. You see it? As the scripture says, the northern and southern kingdoms of Israel must be unified in one in order for you to have a nation, a body, a unified body. You understand it? Your thoughts and your feelings must become one. That's why he said you must think in your heart. And these two are one, the mind and the heart. You see it? Well, in order to become one with something, you must desire it. And this principle of desire is the longing for or the need to become one with, to make oneself one with. Do y'all understand that? For instance, the desire a man has for a woman. It's a natural, instinctive desire. When a man sees a woman he's attracted to, she fits his appetite. When we say, do you have a type? You could use the same principle to describe food. Do you have a type? Oh, well, I eat this and I eat that, and I don't eat this and I don't eat that. I have a preference for this and I have a preference for that, but I don't like this and I don't like that. Well, people do the same thing with people they're attracted to. I have a type. I don't like tall, or I don't like short, or I don't like thick, or I don't like skinny, or whatever it is. You have a type. Well, when you see that type, or you see what fits the appetite, you hear what I'm saying to you? What do? You desire to make it one with you, like the man does. Man and woman leave their father and their mother and cleave and become one flesh. See how his desire is to make her one flesh with him. You see that, little flock? Well, that comes from appetite, don't it? Which means it is a thing that's already inside of you before you saw the thing that you desired. I want you guys to hear that. Come on now. Ringing the bell. Ding, 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 ding. I mean, pay attention exactly what I'm saying right now. There's something going on in you already before you looked and saw the thing that fit the bill. We need to know what the bill is. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? If it fits something, you got to have something already, a template already designed in your mind already for it to fit. Do you understand? Why am I focusing you on that, as I said, the bill, or as the focusing you on the template? Because determining on your template is going to determine what tickles your fancy, correct? Now we're going to read some scriptures today. And the first scripture that we're going to read is going to explain what the grandson is saying to you perfectly. Okay? Go to the book of Matthew. The book of Matthew chapter 5. Now watch what I'm going to read and then watch how it connects like Legos to what I have just told you. Matthew chapter 5, verse 6. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Do you hear that, little flockulators? Do you see what the grandson was telling to you? So now, the bill or the template was what here, according to this scripture? Righteousness. Now, can you understand what I'm saying to you? Righteousness was the template. So then now you're looking for the desire, you're desiring the thing that will fit that bill. You see what I'm saying? To fit that template. So if you're hungering and thirsting, appetite, your desire, see how it's connecting? You have to have that first. That's what I'm describing to you. You have to have a template first before you can find something that fits that template or fits the design you have set up in your mind of what you desire. So in this case, it's hungering for righteousness and thirsting for righteousness. Your appetite is righteousness. That is what you want to become one with. Don't you see it, little flock of ladies, like the grandson of right thought? See it? So he says you're blessed if that is your appetite, if that is your template, if that is your desire, then you're blessed because you will indeed be filled, like the grandson of right thought is today, breaking this down for you. You see what I mean? I'm not saying that to you to try to pump myself up or make myself into something. I'm telling you that if you hunger and thirst after the things that I have, then you will have the things that I have. That's all I'm telling you. Now, do you want the things that I have? Don't you see why Abba strips me of all of the worldly bullcrap so that you can see what is his true value? It's within him. The grandson's value is inside of him. It's not outside of him because the outside will fade. He said stack up riches where it won't decay. So that's the inside. That's what I'm telling you guys about. You see? If you hunger and thirst after the right things, which are the things on the inside, the kingdom, then you'll be blessed to receive them. You see it today, little flock? So this is why I'm focusing your attention on your desire. What is it really? Because that determines on what you're going to get. Don't you see? You shall be filled. For you shall be filled. I want you to understand that word for. You see it? If you hunger for it, if you have the appetite for it, then you will be filled with your desire. So imagine if your desire isn't righteousness. See what I mean, little flockulators? What if your appetite is wicked? What if you hunger and thirsting after earthly gain, after temporal riches? What if that is your hunger and your thirst? See what I'm trying to say to you? So what you get is, or as I said yesterday, the tree that you see is righteousness. But the root of the tree was your hunger and appetite for it. So always, if you pay attention, the things you experience come from a root. And that's why I told you in the video yesterday, then let's deal with the root, not the tree that you see. That ain't going to do you no good to do that. You see it? It's the root that need to be dealt with. We just proved it. The hunger and the thirst, the origin. See it? If you say, I like light-skinned women that's 5'2", that got dimples and that got a hair this particular texture and this and that, and that's what you said in your heart. That's what you like. That's what you want to eat for dinner. In other words, become one with. So then you're walking around and you see a woman that fits that bill in your mind. See what I'm saying to you? It's not just when you saw the woman. It was already in there. Like Yahusha wants y'all to know. It's not when you saw her. Oh, I'm getting tempted now. I'm getting tempted. Well, you wouldn't be tempted with something if you didn't have the appetite for it. Gosh golly, I hope you can understand this. Let me break it down a little bit more for the little flockulators here. If you go to a restaurant, okay, now you have a waiter who's able to see inside of your inner world. You understand that? Because he's seated in there. So he's able to see what your appetites are, what your desires are. So when you think and feel the desire without saying anything, he sees that. Now, when he sees that, he starts to construct an illusion to fit that image that you've told him that you desire. He starts to construct the meal. Don't you see it, little flock? And then he puts it on the table. Now, you haven't ordered yet. You're just looking at the menu. He's like, you're looking at the waiter like, how? I didn't want no big ass chocolate cake. Why'd you put that on the table? I didn't order that. Yes, you did. You desired it. You'd be like, oh shit, I did fucking desire it, but I'm on a diet right now. I know I'm not supposed to be eating that shit. I just desired it. It's what I truly want. And then that's what he's going to say. But this is what you truly want. Why order something to put on a show? This is what you truly want, isn't it? See how Satan is working there? Do you see how the devil is working? This is what you want, isn't it? Yeah, come on, let's be honest here, man. You want this. And then now you feel tempted. Fuck, do I eat it or do I tell him to take it away? Shit. But what do you think happens when that waiter comes to the table to see what you want to eat and he sees righteousness in there? I don't have that in my repertoire. Shit, I can't make that shit. I thought I was a real chef. I ain't no damn chef. I'm just an illusionist. I'm an illusionist chef. Shit, I make shit look like it's good. That's all he does. But he does it based off of your desires. That's the key, little flock. This is why it ain't no room to blame nobody else for the things that we do. There's no room to blame nobody. Where is room for blaming when Abba told us to forgive? I want y'all to look at the Lord's Prayer, and I want y'all to look in there and see if you see anything about blame other people. But I also want you to look in Genesis, and which we're going to go to next here. So might as well go to Genesis because that's where we're going, Genesis 4. But I want you to go in Genesis and I want you to look and see if they blamed each other when they got caught. What did you see the woman do? The serpent beguiled me. What did the man do? The woman you gave me, she deceived me as well. She gave to me and I did eat. You see it, little flockulators? Do you see it? Well, the woman, the feeling was deceived because of a desire she had. She desired it. I hope y'all read those words in the Bible because they're right there on the page. Didn't it say she saw that it was to make one wise and that it was to be desired? To be desired? Yeah. Because if you judge with your eyes, then you will desire things that look good. Like the man I told you about that saw the woman that looked good. God don't like his sons judging like that. Especially when there's an illusionist going around giving you fake illusions. So he don't want you judging outward appearance about something is good because it looked good. That's the wrong type of appetite to have. Righteousness is wanting something that is good. Not something that look good. I want something that is good. Can the devil give you something that is good? No. He's a liar. He's a deceiver. He speak no truth. There's no truth in him. And we're going to get into all of this today, little flock. So are you in Genesis now? Because that's where I told you to go, isn't it? All right, then. Y'all a little flock, right? All right, then. Genesis 4. We'll start at verse 2. Okay? So, and she again bare his brother Abel. Talking about Cain's brother, obviously. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Stop. So what do we see here, little flock? We see two brothers being born. These are two grandsons, like I've told you all from the beginning. Why am I pointing out that they're grandsons? Because when grandsons are born, when the grandson of God is born, there is war. It's going to happen every single time. Let's check and see. Let's check the record and see. Abraham, which would be the father, Isaac, which would be the only begotten promised son, and then his son, which is Israel or Jacob, which is the grandson. Now there was a red devil that came alongside with that grandson, born right with him, named Esau. So then we see the same thing that would happen with Jacob and Esau. It's the same thing we're reading here with Cain and Abel. Every time there's a grandson born, here comes a red dragon. Here he comes. So every time a spiritual mind is born, the carnal mind come with it. And they war for dominance and dominion. Don't you see? That's where the word dominant come from. Dominion, control, power. You see it? So he said he gave us the spirit of power. And we're going to read about that spirit of power right here. And in process of time, okay, wait, before I continue, do you see the difference in the occupation of the grandsons? Do you see it? Aren't they different every time? Let's see about Jacob and Esau, our example we used. Jacob was a plain man dwelling in his tent. Esau was a man of the field and a hunter. Can you see that today? Can you see that today? What does Edomites do? They offer mankind, they hunt mankind with trinkets and what was I saying earlier? Desires that fit the bill for people. Carnally, you understand? So Edomites are a people that sell illusions to people that seem to fulfill their desires because their desires are carnal. So that's why Edom has dominion of the world, because people are carnally led. And as long as they're carnally led, then they love Esau, because Esau offers them the things that seem to scratch their back or tickle their fancy. You guys understand what I'm saying? Fulfill the appetite that they have. Their appetite is for carnal things. So they're looking for a carnal God to give them the carnal things that they desire. Now, what did Yahushua say when he came, when he revealed the Father? These things the Gentiles seek, carnal things. See what I'm saying about the separation between the two type of men? Of course you're going to clamor after a man who says, I'll give you gold. I'll give you all the women you can have. Y'all didn't watch the movie 300 like I told you. What did Xerxes and the Bafity Bow offer Quasimodo, looking ass nigga? What they offering? All the women. Nigga fell all on the ground. Yes, I want it. I want all the gold. I want all the riches. I want all the women. I want all the... I want means that was his true desire of his heart. So now using this movie 300, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this. The traitor, the Quasimodo looking nigga, he approached his king and he said to his king, let me fight on the battlefield. Now, the king told him, no, you ain't fit for battle, but you can help by cleaning up the wounded and giving water to the soldiers and shit. That's the work you can do. He didn't want that. Why didn't he want that? Could you imagine why he didn't want it? Because this is important for all of us to understand this. Because I'm getting to the root of his issue, which is within all of us. The same damn root of sin. You see it? The same carnal nature that wants and desires vainglory. Now, did that Quasimodo looking nigga want vainglory? Or did he really want to serve his king and his people? What would you say? But what did he say with his mouth? I want to serve king. I will fight and kill many enemies. I will kill many Persians. Do you hear his voice? Do you hear what he's actually saying? But that's not the desire of his heart. The desire of his heart is to finally be seen and worth something, because he's been treated as an outcast. He was supposed to be killed at birth because of all the issues that he had. So he had this defective view of himself. And because of that, he thought he could correct that view of himself, that he's ugly and decrepit and bent over and not good enough and not qualified enough. He thought he could overcome that with vainglory. Look what I did on the battlefield. I'm mightier than all the other soldiers. That's vainglory. No, you can't fight for me. And then why did he explain to Quasimodo looking ass nigga? Why did he explain to him why he couldn't fight? He says, because you can't protect your brother. You can't hold your shield up high enough to protect your brother at the neck. We fight as one impenetrable unit, and you're a defective part. So you won't be able to fight as one with your brothers. But what you can do is serve your brothers. The greatest in the kingdom is the servant. That's going to have the greatest glory he would have had, but he didn't know that. So he betrayed his king for riches, glory, and all that shit that Baphomet offer you. Satan, what he offer you, that's what he went for. And look at the shame he got. And what was he told? May you live forever. May you live forever. Y'all hear that line right there? Now go back to Cain and Abel, what we're reading here. If I go, somebody will kill me. God, my punishment is too great to bear. That's Cain. Now I'm going to put a mark on you, so ain't nobody going to kill you. May you live forever. Y'all hear that there? Now back to Genesis now. Watch this. So one is a keeper of the sheep and one is a tiller of the ground. Now, what does keeper of the sheep mean? Well, what did the Bible say about Abel? Abel's blood is called righteous blood. So now we get an understanding of his appetite, his desire for what he did, not just the fact that he did it. See what I'm saying to you, little flock? This is the depth, the deeper understanding of what we're reading here that most people just gloss over. They gloss over the root when they look at the beautiful plant they're looking at, guys. They don't know that that plant could never be without the root down there. But they give the root no type of acknowledgement, no type of praise because of the beautiful plant that they can see with their eyes, even though the plant could never be without the root. So it is with us and our Father. People overlook the Father in their daily life because they don't see him, because he's invisible like the root is that sustains the plant. You're a plant. Who is your root? So if you don't acknowledge the root, then what happens? You wither away like that fig tree did. Why do you think Yahushua said what he said to the fig tree? Wowzers. Wowzers. All right. So a keeper of the sheep means he give his life up. He lives a selfless life. Keeper of sheep means he is a protector of his brothers. He lead them as sheep to still waters. He's a good shepherd to his people. Don't you see it like a father does to his own family? So Abel understood the father's love. Don't you get it? Through the teachings he received from his father, he understood the father's love. Okay? So that's what he did with his life. Cain, on the other hand, became a tiller of the ground. You see it? Now watch this. And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. Hear that? And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and the fat thereof. You see those two words, firstlings and fat. Firstlings mean the firstborn. You see it? Which is from a father, his firstborn son is his best offering. What did Abraham do with Isaac? You see how it's connected. So then Abel did the same thing with the first of his flock. The same thing Abraham did with the first of his. Can't you see it, little flockulators? God will touch the sacrifice that you give to him and bless it. Let's see. What about Samson and his father and his mother? What did his father and his mother do in order to bear Samson? They prayed because Samson's father's wife, Samson's mother that is, was barren, couldn't have a child. So they prayed, and she said, if you give me a man child, I will give him back to you. Same thing Samuel's mother did. Now, guess what happens when these offerings are made? These men that come out of this prayer that they pray, always end up having the Ruach HaKodesh. Look at Samson. Lee, can you understand me? Had to switch it up right there, little flock. Y'all hear me today? Can you hear how it's going here? The Ruach HaKodesh is the token that proves that God accepts your sacrifice. You see it today, little flock? I'm the firstborn of my father, and look at me. Can't you see what I'm saying here today? I'm the first and only son of my father. Don't you see it? Named after my grandfather. Can't you see it? Though I'm a third. Oh man, explain that mystery to me if you can. How can a man be named after his grandfather, but yet he's the third? And he's not named after his father, though he is. Can you explain to me how that is? I can explain to you how it is because it's my life for real. So then when you read about the branch being a branch from the root, so that means a grandson from the root, do you see why I'm named after my grandfather and why I have the Ruach HaKodesh on me? And while my mother said the same thing, bless me with a son, and if you give me a son, I'll give him back to you. Those were my mother's words. Okay, so you see how Abba had respect into the sacrifice and blessed it by putting his spirit on it. That's how he blessed the sacrifice. So what do you think he put on Abel? Well, high priest. That's called putting the spirit on you. You become a high priest because your sacrifice was accepted. Y'all see that, little flock of ladies? Now let's continue. And why was it? Because of the desire, the appetite that you had. Let's continue. So he bought the firstlings and the fat thereof. Why would he bring that if his intent was not to give the best of what he had, guys? So did Abba bless his sacrifice because of what he put on there, or did he bless his sacrifice because of the intents of his heart? Which one does Abba judge? You guys know by now, if you're here at the School of Marvelous Light, that Abba judges the intents of the heart. The appetite, the desire. You see it? So then if I do this, I will be acceptable unto love. If I do it lovingly, I will be accepted by love. If I do it true and I do it lovingly. That's Abel's attitude. So if he does that, he believes that he will be acceptable. Okay? Now, let's continue and see what we see happens next here. But unto Cain and to his offering, oh, I went too far. And Abel, he also brought the firstling of the flock, the fat thereof. Fat means the best parts. You see it? And the Lord had respect unto Abel and stop. He had respect unto Abel. Is that what it says, little flock? That is what it says. And then it goes on to say, and, in case you're wondering if it meant respect to his sacrifice. He said, I had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering, he had not respect. So he didn't respect Cain or what Cain offered. Can't you understand it, little flock? Maybe you can't, so let me make it clear. If you had two sons, right, and you give them two different chores to do, and you say, okay, son, I want you to clean you guys' bedroom. They share bedrooms. I want you to clean the bedrooms, and you, my other son, I want you to clean the kitchen. So when I come home, I expect those two jobs to be done. Then you come home from work, you go in the kitchen, it's spotless. It's spotless. Your younger son has cleaned the shit out of that kitchen. You wipe your finger on the counter, nothing. You look at the counter, all the dishes are dry, gleaming. I know the counter's all cleaned off and shit. The refrigerator's all perfectly pristine, glowing when you open it. You're like, damn, you even cleaned the refrigerator? Shit. You said kitchen, I cleaned it all. Well, damn, I have respect. See it? I respect your work, what you did. See what I mean, little flock? So he had respect into his younger son and the work that he had done. But let's say he goes into that bedroom of the older son. See, he goes in his bedroom and it looks clean to the surface. He's like, wow, you did your thing in here, son. Shit's clean as hell. Let me look up under this bed and see how well you did. What the shit? Pizza up under there, dirty ass drawers with skid marks all up in that shit, stashed up under there, dirty ass socks that have still been in the shape of his feet because they're crustified, because they're dirty as hell and stinking. They're up under there with a banana peel on the side with gnats all over that shit, flying up in the air when he pulled the bed open, spider lurking and shit. A mouse ran through there with a piece of cheese. He ran that a Lunchable that nigga left under there with crackers and a little bit of meat in the corner and shit, still in there with maggots all over the shit. So is his daddy going to respect what he did? Is he going to respect the kind of man that is? Come on, guys. So how is it hard for you guys to understand it? It shouldn't be. Well, that's what happened. Don't you see it? Watch this. And he did not have respect unto Cain in his offering. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. So now what happened to Cain? He got pissed off because his dad let him know, hey, man, this ain't right, bro. Now, he just witnessed his brother getting hugged and kissed and threw all up in the air and everything. Damn, he did good. Shit, hope he's happy when he sees mine. Dad comes in there. He's like, I'm going to deceive my dad. See how you're... What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you guys about the two sons and the differences in them? One is a slave. One is free. One is gendered to bondage. One is gendered to the truth. Zion. Didn't I tell you guys this? Nothing in the scriptures bear witness that what I'm saying to you is true. So do you see how the first son has a slave mentality? I'll make it look good, but I'm not actually doing it good. I'm not giving my best effort, even though I want to make it appear like I am. My question is, where is this thought that you want to make it appear to your dad like it is, even though it's not? Why do you think that's okay? How do you think that's loving your father to treat him that way? Do you understand the depths of wickedness that is that I'm describing to you? It may look innocent. It's not. That's why God dealt with it the way that he did, guys. He knew it. He said, look at this guy's heart. I'm his father that love him, and yet he's trying to deceive me by giving me piss poor effort, but acting like he's not. So I told you to clean your room, and you were going to stash all this shit under your bed and then tell me that you had cleaned it so I could give you the accolades and all the same glory I gave your brother, even though your brother actually did the work necessary? You think that's right for me to give you the same reward? Y'all know good and damn well it ain't. So why it ain't right that God did what he did? It's because it is right. You see it, little flockulators? All right. He says, and the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? Now we're about to get into the juicy part of the meal here, so pay attention. Why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? So the father looks over at his son, and he's like, what you all upset about? Isn't this normal? What you mad about? I see you looking at your brother with this envy. What's that about? Let's see here. If thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted? Stop. See about being accepted? Accepted by who? Love. If you do well, won't you be accepted by love? So what the father tell his son? Son, don't you think if you had truly cleaned your room, if you had really did it good and cleaned all of that out and not tried to deceive me, but gave me your best foot forward, don't you think I would have gave you the same thing I gave your brother? Don't you think I would have did that? He has to say, yes, I know it, but he's not willing to do it right. Why? Because he's of his father. The Bible made that clear about Cain. He was of the wicked one. He was of the wicked one. See it there, little flock? All right. So if you do well, shall you not be accepted? Watch, here it goes. Watch, here's the juicy part. Here's the crunch. And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Do y'all get that right there real nice and good, little flockulators? Crunch, 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 because it's tasty. He said, unto thee shall be his desire. Isn't that what we started this conversation talking about today, little flock? That this is where everything comes from. Your appetite, your desire. So now he has a desire. Who does? Sin. Sin is death. Sin is the carnal mind. The carnal mind has a desire for you. And the desire for you is just as strong as the man's desire is for the beautiful woman. That's why I was using that as your example. That's what I was saying. His desire will be for you, to rule over you. That's what he wants to do. And we're going to get examples of that same thing I just told you about his desire to rule over you. We're going to get some examples of that. What is the woman's desire when she's in her fallen state? To rule over her husband. But what did God say? You shall rule over him. What did God say to the woman? See how it's no different? It's the same damn thing. She seek to rule over her husband, but he shall rule over thee. That's the way I set it up, and so that's the way it shall be, even though the desire of your heart is to do something against what I set up. Can't you guys see it? So he says, if you don't do well. Now, where is the doing well, guys? It's the work that he did. I just proved to you where the doing was that he did. It was the premeditation. He did in his heart to deceive his father. Why else was he pushing the stuff under the bed? Because he's saying in his heart, my father won't see it if I push it under the bed. So he did do work, didn't he? He did work by pushing it under the bed. He still had to labor, but he labored in vain instead of laboring in truth and doing a labor that actually will give you the reward you're looking for. Can't you guys hear this today? You sought it by the work of your hands, not by faith. Oh my goodness. You thought you could deceive me with the work of your hands, that it looks good. Because men are deceived by that, but God is not. But if you don't know that God is not, you think God judges like man judges. In your pride, believe me, you do. You think if you make things look good, God will accept it. He doesn't judge like man judges. That shit only works on men. As you can see, it didn't work on God here. God had no respect to him. So he knew the intent of his heart, even though I'm sure his sacrifice looked good to the eye when he set it up there. See? You see? But the work was done before it was set on the altar. That's what I want you to know. How is iniquity done, little flock? That's why Christ said, get away from me, you workers of iniquity. How does iniquity work? If you have a scale, you will preset the scale to be imbalanced, so that when you put the item that you're selling on the scale will appear to be a certain weight, but it's a lie, because you've premeditated set the scale in your favor. So you have to put less on the scale and it appears as though it's more. The man wants to buy 1 gram of an item from you, or 2 grams of an item from you. Even though you put 1 gram on the scale reads 2 grams because you've rigged it. So he says, oh, that's 2 grams? Yeah, that's what it says, doesn't it? Well, shit, yeah, it says 2 grams, I guess. Here's your money, man. You paid double for less. You see, that's iniquity. Well, you work the scale. We don't give a damn about you. Put the shit on the scale and it says 2. You think God is impressed by that because men see that and say, oh, I judge with my eyes. I guess you're right. Fuck that. I'm judging by the truth, nigga. That's only 1 damn gram sitting up there. You thieving ass nigga, worker of iniquity. Let me see your scale. Oh, yeah, look how you done rigged this shit. You see how the intents of your heart ain't right? And you expect me to respect you, nigga? Do you? Do you respect the nigga who lives like that and does that kind of shit to people? Who rig up his scales and shit? Will you respect that? No. So then why would God? Now, why don't you respect it? Because it works ill to your neighbor. What's the commandments? Don't work no ill to your neighbor. Love don't work no ill to his neighbor. So ultimately what you're saying is it's not loving. So then God is love. So then you see why he doesn't respect people that work iniquity and are doing things that are not loving to their neighbor? So then what commandment do you think you should keep? The royal one, I'd say. All right. So he says, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. So you were supposed to rule over that desire that told you to push that shit under the bed. That's when you're doing good. If you rule over him, then the work you did will be acceptable. Focus on where the true work is being done, little flock. I just proved to you where it's at. You see it? You see it? Now, do you see why Satan is sitting in Pergamos in Revelation? Do you see why he's sitting on your belly? On your seat of desire and appetite? What do I want to eat? In other words, what do I want to become one with? Well, you should hunger and thirst after righteousness, as we discovered. But some hunger and thirst after unrighteousness, which is sliding the shit under the bed and making it look good. That's what people do. Let's just give an examples of these things that I'm describing to you. A person is overweight, okay? They're overweight. Now, they should do it the right way, which is eat correctly, do the proper exercise, be patient, and let patience have her perfect work. And you'll get the result, because that's righteousness. That's seeking it the right way. But you don't want to do all that work. You don't want to make all those sacrifices. You see what I mean about Abel's sacrifice? You don't want to make the necessary sacrifices. So you go and you get lipo and gastric bypass surgery. You see it? And so you lose all the weight. But now you got all this flabbing ass, hanging ass skin. So now you have to go back and get that shit cut off. Now you got all these scars and all this pain and discomfort and shit. Why didn't you just do it the right way? Because you sought it not by faith, but as it were, by the work of your hands. That's how. And it is not respectable. Nobody has respect for that. But do they have respect for the person that lost 400 pounds through hard work and dedication? Yes, they do. Doing it the right way? Yes, they do respect that offering. They respect it because it's true. That's why. You see it? It ain't hard to understand this, y'all. All right. Now we're going to go to the book of Luke. All right. Luke chapter 22. Now watch this here. We referenced this in the video the other day. We're going to reference it again because it's going to make perfect sense again, y'all little flockulators. Luke 22, verse 31. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon. How come he ain't called Simon Peter if he changed his name to Peter? How come he calling him Simon right there? I told y'all that yesterday, didn't I? I said he's calling him Simon because he's in the carnal state that he's in. The spiritual man that he truly is named Peter, which is a rock that don't shift, that don't turn, that don't renege. Okay? Don't renege. I mean, don't go back on his word. You see it? Let's see. Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired. There's the same word again, little flockulators. So did you see what he told Cain? If the intent of your heart isn't right, he's going to want to be one with you. He's going to want to be one with you in that moment. Soon as your heart isn't right, he's coming to make himself one with you. That's who he desires. That's who he is looking for, like that woman that you're looking for when you see that woman that fits the bill. You're that woman that fits the bill from him when your heart is crooked. When your intention of your heart is not pure, that's the woman he loves. Ooh, I want you, girl. Come over here to me. I need to have you. Can't you hear it? Can't you hear it doesn't change the same word that he used for Cain? He desired you. When he saw the intent of your heart, look what he made you do. He turned you into a fool. He made you think that you could deceive me. And look what happened. I caught your ass. And God gonna always catch you. Simon, Simon, Satan have desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy what? Thy faith. You see what I'm saying about seeking things by faith? That your faith fail not. And when thou art converted means to become who you truly are, to be born again into your truth. I called you Peter, but you're acting like Simon right now. And the reason why I'm saying this to you right now, if you go back and read the whole chapter, is because he told them they're going to have a high-ranking position. And the moment he told them that, he had to turn to Simon and say, Satan is trying to have you. Which means right now you're thinking carnal-ass thoughts about this glory I told you you're going to get. You're thinking carnally about it. So Satan's going to jump in you and try to become one with your ass because of that. Like I told you guys on a video that's called Always Looking for the Top Spot. If you go back to that video and listen to it, it's eerily similar to what I'm telling you right now. All right. He says, when thou art converted, when you are Peter, strengthen thy brethren. What do you see in the book of Acts? 3,000 souls were saved because of Peter's preaching. Do you hear it, little flock of laters? Do you hear it? All right. And he said unto him, Lord, I am ready to go with thee both into prison and to death. And he said, I tell thee, Peter, the cock shall not crow this day before thou hast thrice denied that thou knowest me. See what I told you? See? Simon Peter, double-minded, between two opinions. You're going to deny me because of that. But when you finally accept who you are and you are truly converted into your truth and no longer lukewarm and going back and forth, but you're fully converted, then you're going to strengthen your brother because your faith is going to be incredible. Because Peter represents faith. Simon represents doubt. Those are one person inside of you. Faith and doubt. Which one do you choose every single day that you live? You're having to make that choice to be Peter or to be Simon. All right. He says, before you shall thrice deny that thou knowest me. He said, you're going to deny me 3 times, man. You act like you don't even know me. But what did you say with your mouth? So see what I mean about cleaning your room? You made it look clean, but look up under your bed, Peter. There's some shit under there, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Why don't you get that clean first? Before you open your mouth, start talking about what you're going to do and what you ain't going to do. 1 Peter chapter 5. Let's go there next. 1 Peter chapter 5, start at verse 8. Be sober. Be vigilant. Clear-minded. Paying attention. Watchful. Where? Inside of yourself. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. He walketh about where? Inside of you. Doing what? Seeking whom he may devour. See what I'm saying to you, little flock of laters? Can't you hear it? Looking for a woman. Yeah, I want somebody to become one with me. Like I described to you earlier. He's looking for that woman whose intent of the heart isn't right. Who's using his tactics. That's his wife. Okay, let me slow down real quick and let it percolate. Let's take two men. One's righteous, one's wicked. One's fair, and one works iniquity. One is truthful, and one works deception. There are two men. Now they're both looking for a wife. Now there's two women. One's upright, one's a deceiver. One's fair, one works iniquity. One's righteous, and one's wicked. One's a virgin, one's a whore. Now, the one who's a deceiver, the man, which one do you think he's going to become one with? Which one you think he's looking for? The woman that keeps his ways. That's the one. Because that's the one he's one with. Now, the righteous man is looking for a virtuous woman. And why? Because she will keep his ways. And why does he want a wife who keeps his ways? So that when he has offspring, she will teach him his ways. Like I've told you guys, you are all raised in a world by a wicked ass woman that listens to Satan. Like I told you. You see how it's connecting like Legos here and there's no lies in it?